Hello, home bosses. One of the most common things I hear is this: my book is published, but nobody is finding it. Very often the problem is not the book itself, it's the title. So their title makes sense to them, but it doesn't make sense to Amazon. In the last video, I explained that Amazon works like a search engine, and today I want to focus on one very important part of that system, your title and subtitle. Why does your title matter so much? Well, your book title is not just a name, it's a signal. It tells Amazon what your book is about and where it belongs. If Amazon is not sure what your book is, it doesn't know when to show it to shoppers. So that's why some good books stay hidden. If Amazon doesn't get the right signal, it doesn't know when to show your book, even if everything else in the listing is set up well. So how does Amazon read a title? Amazon doesn't read your title the way a human reads a book cover. It scans for meaning and relevance. It's looking for simple questions. What kind of book is this? Who is this for? And when should it appear in a search result? And this is why clarity matters more than cleverness when it comes to discoverability. And when I talk about cleverness, I'm not saying that creative titles are bad. I'm talking about titles that only make sense once you already know the author or the idea behind the book. A good example of this is The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. If you already know her work, that title works beautifully. Her audience understands her style and her message. But if you didn't know her at all and you just saw that title on Amazon, it doesn't actually explain what the book is about. And that is the key difference. Clever titles work for some authors, usually well-known or famous authors. And well-known authors can get away with short titles, symbolic titles, concept-led titles, because people are already searching for them by name. People search for Stephen King's latest book without even maybe knowing the title, and whatever the title is, they know what they are buying. So their reputation carries the meaning. And for newer or lesser-known authors like us, Amazon and readers don't have that context yet. So if the title is too vague, Amazon struggles to understand what the book is, who it is for, and when to show it. And readers may scroll past simply because it's not immediately clear. This doesn't mean you can't be creative with your titles, and this part is important. You don't have to choose between being creative and being discoverable. The balance usually looks like this: a nice or interesting title supported by a clear subtitle that explains more, reinforced by the description, keywords, categories, and cover. That way, the title can do its emotional or branding job, while the rest of the listing does the explaining. And this is where I want to pause, because I still see this constantly. Titles like Coloring Book for Kids, Adults, Women and Men, 58 pages, 8.5 by 11 inches, makes a great gift. This is keyword stuffing, and I understand why people do this. And I've done it in the past. When I first started, that's how some of my titles looked. Basically, they copy what they see already live on Amazon. And yes, some of these books do get through Amazon's checks, but that doesn't mean it's good practice. So why is this a problem even if the book goes live? Well, Amazon's guidelines are clear. Titles are not meant to include page numbers, book size, promotional phrases, or long lists of audiences. Sometimes Amazon catches this immediately, and sometimes it catches it later. But even when a book stays live, there's a bigger issue most people miss. When a title is keyword stuffed to cover everything, Amazon doesn't know who the book is actually for. A book listed as for kids, adults, women and men isn't clearly relevant to one group of people. So it's the same as targeting nobody. In simpler words, if your book is for everyone, Amazon does not know who to show it to because they can't show it to everyone. It's trying to find a specific buyer. And when Amazon is unsure, your book appears less. So remember that because it's really important. But here is an important clarification. Not all book titles explain everything. In fiction or in children's books, or even in some non-fiction, titles are often playful, emotional, or symbolic. A children's picture book title doesn't usually explain the lesson in the book. A novel title doesn't explain the story. That's completely normal and it's not a problem. And it doesn't mean that Amazon is left guessing. When a title is creative, clarity comes from the rest of the listing. This is where your subtitle, your description, your keywords, your categories, and your cover even do more of the explanatory work. For example, a fiction title may be emotional or unclear, but the description and categories clearly place it in a genre. And a children's book title may be playful, but the age range and description clarify who it's for. So a non-fiction book may have a creative title, but the subtitle explains the topic or ideally the outcome. So Amazon looks at the full picture, not just one element. So the problem is not creativity. The problem is when the title is unclear, the subtitle explains nothing, the description is messy, and the keywords and categories don't reinforce anything. That's when Amazon struggles to confidently place the book in search results. Creativity works best when it's supported by structure. So after watching this, take one of your books and ask, is it clear what kind of book this is from the title? Does the subtitle help or confuse? Do all parts of the listing say the same thing? You don't need to change everything at once. You can make small changes here that can make a real difference. And I know you can't change titles and subtitles, so it's just something that you need to consider for the next book that you write. So in the next video, I'll talk about book descriptions and how to write them in a clear, simple way that helps visibility. And if you still have questions, this is the type of topic that I will be discussing inside the Homeboss Publishing Academy, which I'm currently working on. I mentioned this in my last video and I'm still preparing everything for that, but I'll keep you posted and hopefully I'll launch it soon. So thank you so much for watching today and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.